When you feel like you're always playing a role, are you really you? Or are you just trying to please everyone? You know that exhausting feeling when you're one person at work, another with your family, someone completely different on social media, and yet another version with your friends. And at the end of the day, you look in the mirror and think, who am I really? If you've ever felt like you're constantly putting on masks, playing different roles, and lost track of your authentic self, well, Freud has some answers for you before we dive in. Hit subscribe if you want to understand your mind better and explore what Freud discovered about human nature. Like this video and ring that bell. The theater of daily life, let me paint you a picture. Imagine your life is a theater and you're the lead actor. But here's the twist. You're playing multiple characters in the same day. Morning, you're the perfect employee, polite, efficient, always saying yes, of course, to your boss even when you want to scream. Afternoon, you transform into the cool friend, laughing at jokes you don't find funny, agreeing with opinions you secretly disagree with. Evening, at home, you become the good son, daughter, hiding parts of yourself your parents wouldn't approve of. Night, on social media, you're the curated version, showing only the highlights, never the struggles. Sound familiar? You're not alone, and you're not crazy. You're just human. Meet your inner diplomat, the ego. Freud called this constant role-playing the work of your ego. But forget what you think you know about ego. We're not talking about arrogance here. Think of your ego as your inner diplomat. Picture this inside your mind. There's a constant meeting happening. On one side, you have your ID. That's your inner child screaming, I want what I want, and I want it now. It's your raw desires, your impulses, your authentic feelings. On the other side, you have your superego. That's your inner judge, constantly whispering you should do this. You shouldn't do that. What will people think? And right in the middle, trying to keep everyone happy, is your ego, your inner diplomat. Its job to negotiate, to find ways to satisfy your desires while keeping society from rejecting you. The ego is like a skilled translator. It takes your ID's raw message of I hate my boss and translates it into the socially acceptable I have some concerns about our workflow. Why we wear masks. But here's where it gets interesting. Your ego doesn't just translate, it creates masks, different masks for different situations. Freud understood that we all do this, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Think about it. Would you really want to live in a world where everyone expressed their raw, unfiltered thoughts all the time, where your boss said exactly what they thought about your presentation, where your partner never filtered their irritation? These masks serve a purpose. They help us survive socially. We need to belong to groups, protect ourselves. Some truths are too vulnerable to share. Protect others. Sometimes kindness means holding back. But here's the problem. When you wear masks for so long, you start to forget what your real face looks like. The exhaustion of constant performance 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, you know, that bone-deep tiredness. That doesn't go away with sleep. That feeling of being drained even when you haven't done anything physically demanding. Freud would say that's the cost of constant performance. Your ego is working overtime, constantly calculating. What does this person want to hear? How should I react to fit in? What version of myself is safe to show here? It's like being a method actor who never gets to leave the stage. Exhausting, right? This is why you might feel disconnected from yourself. You've been so focused on being what others want that you've lost touch with what you want. Resentful, deep down, your authentic self is screaming to be heard. Anxious, you're constantly worried about dropping the mask and being rejected. Empty, success feels hollow when it's not really you who achieved it. The authentic self trap. Now, here's where it gets complicated. Our culture is obsessed with being authentic and being yourself. But Freud would ask, which self? You have multiple selves, and they're all real. The you that's gentle with children, real. The you that's competitive at work, also real. The you that's silly with friends, real too. The you that's serious during difficult conversations, equally real. The problem isn't that you have different sides. It's when these sides feel disconnected from each other. When you feel like you're lying about who you are. Freud called this integration, the ability to acknowledge all parts of yourself without feeling like you're betraying your true self. When masks become prisons. Sometimes we get so good at wearing masks that we forget they're removable. The mask becomes a prison. You might notice this when you agree with everyone and realize you've lost your own opinions. You're successful, but feel like a fraud. You are surrounded by people, but feel completely alone. You can't remember the last time you did something just because you wanted to. Panic at the thought of someone seeing the real you. This is what Freud called neurosis. When your ego's coping mechanisms start working against you instead of for you, the way forward, conscious choice. So what would Freud suggest? Not to throw away all your masks. That would be social suicide. Instead, he'd encourage conscious choice. The goal isn't to be the same person everywhere. It's to choose your adaptations consciously rather than automatically. Here's what this looks like. 1. Recognize your masks. Start noticing when you're adapting your behavior. Ask yourself, which version of me am I being right now? There's no judgment here, just awareness. 2. Understand your motivations. Why are you choosing this mask? Is it to protect yourself from rejection, to avoid conflict, to gain approval, to maintain a relationship, to survive in a toxic environment? 3. Check in with your authentic feelings. What is your authentic self feeling right now? Not what you think you should feel, but what you actually feel. Anger, sadness, joy, fear, all valid. 4. Make conscious choices. Sometimes you'll choose to maintain the mask because the situation requires it. But now you're choosing consciously, not automatically. And sometimes you'll choose to take the mask off. The integration process. Freud believed that mental health comes from integration, acknowledging all parts of yourself without judgment. This doesn't mean expressing everything all the time. It means accepting that you're complex, recognizing that different situations bring out different parts of you. Stopping the war between your authentic self and your social self, understanding that adaptation is human, not fake. Think of it like this. A tree doesn't apologize for having different branches. Each branch serves a purpose, reaches toward different sources of light, but they're all part of the same tree. Practical steps for daily life. Start small. Pick one person in your life and share something slightly more authentic than usual. Notice when you automatically agree with someone. Pause and ask yourself what you really think. Spend 10 minutes a day doing something just because you want to. not because you should. Practice self-compassion. Stop judging yourself for adapting to different situations. Recognize that everyone wears masks. It's part of being human. Be patient with the process of integration. Create safe spaces. Identify at least one person or space where you can be more authentic. This might be a therapist, a close friend, or even just a journal. Gradually expand these safe spaces. So, are you really you? Or are you just trying to please everyone? The answer is both. You're a complex human being with different facets. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. The goal isn't to be the same person everywhere. It's to choose your adaptations consciously, to integrate your different parts, and to remember that underneath all those masks is a real person worthy of love and acceptance. What did you think? Does this resonate with your experience? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, this is a safe space where we can explore these ideas together. If this helped you understand yourself better, give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe for more content that helps you make sense of your inner world. Next week, we'll dive into another fruity concept that might surprise you. Until then, be kind to yourself, all versions of yourself.